Good day to you. Once again, I'm Sean Xavier Alcalita, and for the next topic in our logic or PHILO 2 class, let's proceed now to the topic called inference. Okay, so let's go over first. Before we proceed to the topic about inference, let's go first with the basic laws of thought. So this is how our thought process our thinking works. Now let's go first with the principle of identity. So when you say principle of identity, whatever is. What is not is not. So that is the principle of identity. So that's one of the basic principles that we're going to consider when it comes to correct thinking. The next one is the principle of contradiction or the principle of non-contradiction. So a thing cannot be and not be at the same time. So the same attribute or predicate cannot be affirmed and denied of the same subject at the same time. So in other words, what is true uh, in principle of contradiction, if one is true, the other is false. But if one is false, the other one is true. So these are the principles of contradiction. So a thing cannot be true and false at the same time. Okay, next one is the principle of excluded middle, in a sense that a thing neither is nor is not. So in other words, the in between contradictories, there is no middle ground. So in between true and false, there is no middle ground between true and false. So there is no middle way between the true and false. Between the extremes of truth and falsity, there is no middle ground. Between yes and no, there's no middle ground between yes or no. So you have to either yes or no, true or false. So that is the principle of excluded middle. Okay, so let's proceed now to the next topic. To the main topic, the inference as the way to truth. So, truth, as we have said earlier, is a property of judgments or propositions. But how do we come to know that a proposition is true or false? So many propositions are taken as true on the basis of number one is evidence. So evidence of the senses. So um, statements like it is raining, it is now half past 12 noon, and I'm not feeling well are verified or falsified by direct seeing, feeling, or direct perceiving. So here, um, in the first and the first way of determining the what is true is on the basis of evidence. So what is your evidence? Um, for example, um, that they claim that uh, the Philippine government is now lending money to the World Bank, and now they claim that gipulsa lang ito ng mga politiko, but the World Bank says that the money is there in the bank. So um, it's just like that you're buying a car, no? That you're we lend money from the World Bank, and the World Bank pays in behalf of our country, and what we are receiving is just only the COVID-19 vaccines. So that is based according to the statement from the Asian Development Bank as well as in the World Bank. So that is an evidence. Now, the second way of determining true the other statements is by mere analysis of the terms or analysis. So using your common senses. So just like in the principle of identity, self-evident statements like the principle of identity, whatever is, what is not is not. A thing cannot be and not be at the same time. No? and still others accepted on the basis of authority. So, when you say authority, thus, if we trust in the competence of the infectious disease experts like the doctors and COVID-19 vaccines, then we accept their pronouncements as true. Or if we believe in God, then we accept as true as what He revealed in the sacred scriptures. Okay. Okay. Inference as a way to truth. So most propositions, however, are accepted as true because other propositions can be found to serve as evidence for them. Okay, so in most propositions, such truths are attained by a process called inference. Okay, the next one. Inference is a process whereby from truth value of one or more propositions, then we conclude the truth value of another proposition. So whenever we draw a conclusion from what we have asserted as true or false, then we make an inference. And later on, I will give you an example of a current situation today, a situation of a certain a person who is a self-proclaimed doctor, no, who made a false statements concerning about COVID-19. Okay. Um, so the next one, for example, here. So we make an inference. We draw a conclusion from what we have asserted as true or false. Then we make an inference. For example, so if we know that 3x in algebra, no, that 3x is equal to 15, then we conclude that x is equal to 5. Okay. Another example. If the teacher says that passing score is 50% of the total number of points, then you conclude that your score, which is 40% of 100, is already a failing score, is a failing grade. No? And number 3, seeing that there are dark clouds, so using the evidence based on your senses, no? That's what you have observed, basis of your observation. Seeing that there are dark clouds, one can infer that it is going to rain.
Doon ko na lang na-realize na talagang marami ang tao ngayon galit. Marami ang tao ngayon nag-iisip ng kung ano-ano kasi nabuburyo sa COVID. At naisip ko bigla itong doktor na ito. Kasi naalala ko, nung pinanonood ko to noon, nagre-reklamo siya kasi tinatamaan yung negosyo nila. Ngayon, kung ano-anong video nilalabas niya. Nasabi ko, napaka-irresponsable ng doktor na ito. Sorry, wag ko kayo magagalit ha. Pero totoo eh. Pasensya ka na, Doc, I have nothing against you. Pero I think there's something sa mga sinasabi mong hindi maganda na kinaugutan lang ay dahil na istorbo ang negosyo mo. Yan ang tingin ko. Opinyon ko yan, Brad. Ha? Opinyon ko yan. Ay, pwede ako mali, pwede rin akong tama. Opinyon ko yan. And if you want me to respect your opinion, sabi mo nga, wag pumunta dun sa page mo at mag-move on na lang. Okay, and this is my channel. Channel to ng mga banateros. So, respect my opinion. I'll tell you now kung anong problema sa mga sinasabi nito. Okay, pakinggan natin. Papakita ko lang sa inyo.
Ayun, live po kami ngayong araw na to, ngayong hapon na to. Kasi kasama ko po yung kapatid kong walang kwenta galing Amerika. Ayan po, nagtatakip na mukha oh. Parang kay Rafi Tulfo lang yun ayaw magpakilala. Hindi, kasi ano to nurse sa States to. Nag-work siya sa COVID ward. Ang nakakatawa kasi...
Actually, hindi ito ang first time niyang binanatan ng issue ng COVID ha. Napakarami na at kaya lang ito yung kumakalat. Ito yung sinesend ng mga kaibigan ko. Kaya sabi ko, this has to stop. Para maintindihan niya na may problema sa sinasabi niya.
Sinasabi ng mga haters, ng mga trolls, yung mga medical doctors na haters, yung mga taong hater dito sa page natin, sinasabi nila, maglakad ka kaya sa COVID ward ng Pilipinas. Really? I have somebody right now who actually did this and survived sa US pa.
Okay, first wrong. First mali mo. It doesn't mean may isa kang kaibigan na nag-survive, ibig sabihin mali na yon. Naintindihan mo? Look at your logic. May isa kang kaibigan na nag-survive, na naglakad sinasabi mo doon sa ward ng mga may COVID at nag-survive, hindi siya nagkaroon ng COVID. Ibig bang sabihin nun, scientifically, wala, may safe ng COVID dahil hindi siya nagka-COVID? Pakisagot ako. Sige. Dahil ba doon? Safe na kagad? Because of one person? Kung ikaw marunong ka sa logic, I don't think that one person established truth.
Okay? Sa US pa. In fact, I want her to clarify na walang travel restriction sa US. Walang
travel restriction sa US? Are you sure about that? Pakisagot niya ako mga taga-Amerika, wala daw travel restriction sa inyo? Na bawat city? Di ba may mga city sa inyo na hindi, state na hindi pwedeng puntahan?
Sa US, hindi requirement ang magpa-rapid testing in order to travel. Kasi yun ang point ng mga videos na ginagawa ko Hindi requirement tawag nito, sa pagta-travel, hindi requirement ang magpa-testing ka ng COVID.
Sabi ni Randall Bunagan, meron boss, taga San Francisco yan. Ha? Sige nga ho, kasi yung iba naman naniniwala sa depende sa states. Ayan, sinasabi na ng iba. Meron travel restriction. Depende ka nga sa states. Sa Pilipinas din naman, depende sa city. Gusto mo punta sa Timbuktu ka? Wala doon travel restriction. Pero dito sa meron. Leticia Pandyan, salamat po. Requirement kung mag-travel ka, tangi. Ayan na, hindi ho ako sumasagot, mga taga-Amerika na yan. Tama meron. Pag pumunta kami sa ibang state, kailangan namin patest. Pag bumalik kami, abno ito si doktor. Hindi ako nagsasabi niya, si Sean yan. Isa pa taga-Amerika yan. Kaya nga sinasabi ko dito, yung iba naman, sorry, pasensya na ho, yung mga tatanga-tanga naniniwala sa... Yung may sinabi lang, alam nyo yung isang video na napanood ko na sabi doon, alam nyo ba na mas marami pang namamatay na dahil sa diabetes instead of smoking? Ayon sa science, ayon sa study, mas marami pa daw namamatay sa diabetes kaysa sa smoking. So, smoking is not bad for your health. Marami naman daw naniwala. Sa speech niyang yun after nun, sinabi niya, niloloko ko lang kayo, I'm just joking. That's how can manipulate people. Magsabi ka lang ng konti, pwede ka nang paniwalaan. Yan ang problema ko sa doktor na ito. Yung iba, naniniwala ka agad kasi buwisit na sila sa COVID. Naintindihan nyo? Naniniwala ka agad sila kasi naririndi na sila sa lockdown. Ayaw na nila uling mag-lockdown. Kahit ako buwisit na sa lockdown. Mantakin mo, kaligayahan ko na nga lang pumunta sa garden, pagbabawal pa, hayop yan. Pero kung selfish ako, akong tarantado ako, abay magagalit ako po. Inang gobyerno ito, hayop talaga itong gobyerno na Mandaluyong. Hindi totoo yung COVID. Mumurahin ko rin ang Mandaluyong. Bakit? Ay, sorry. Sinabi. Di ba Ano ibig ko sabihin? Because my judgment is affected by comfort. Kung ano yung nararamdaman ko ngayon, kung ano yung nararanasan ko ngayon. Yung judgment ko naaapektuhan na. Kasi nga, ayaw mo na. Buwisit ka na. Sa totoo lang, ako busit na busit eh. Bakit to? Sa totoo lang, pwede naman akong pumunta ng Boracay. Pwede ako mamasyal dyan. Bakit ako busit? Abay, may RT-PCR to. Dutin na naman yung ilong mo. Dutin na naman. Tapos magla-log-in ka pa. Tapos ganito pa, hindi mo alam gagawin mo. Pero I have the means to go there. Nakakabuisit, di ba? Oh. May pera ka pero hindi ka makapunta. Bakit? Ang daming bukete. Tapos ngayon, ang dami-dami pang may COVID. Kaya tuloy, kung ako lang gago, ay ba'y maniniwala na kagad ako dito? Kakampi na rin ako sa kanya. Bakit? Ay gago lahat ang mga kalabang ko. Lahat na may kagagawa ng COVID, gago sa akin. Bakit? Kasi nga, nasisira na yung comfort ko, apektado. How much more? Listen to this. How much more kung apektado na ang negosyo mo? Natural, magagalit ka. Oh. Kaya nga, research, yung mga unang video niya, nagagalit siya kasi apektado yung negosyo niya. Oh. So, tapos, yun ang ginamit niya motivation hanggang binanatan niya ng binanatan, yung mga tanga-tanga naniwala naman kagad.
Anyway, galing kasi siya sa States, we were discussing earlier na, sabi niya, alam mo kuya, sa States, hindi required na mag-COVID testing ka, lalo kung wala ka man nararamdaman. Sa Pilipinas, sasabihin lang, asymptomatic ka lang. Ang totoo, wala ka naman talagang sakit. Dito sa Pilipinas, asymptomatic ka lang, tol. Paano mo nasabi? Di ba? Lagi ko sinasabi, naiiyak kasi yung kapatid ko eh. Kanina daldal nito eh, ngayon ayaw magsalita eh. Lagi ko sinasabi sa mga troll dito, sa mga medical haters, mga medical doctors na troll sa page ko, yung mga physical therapists na troll sa page ko, na hindi dapat ginagawang requirement ang rapid testing kasi pinagkakaperahan nga. It's all about making fucking money.
Para maging sosyal, English speaking. At saka sa totoo lang, yung mga Pilipino kaya naniniwala. Kasi galing siyang Amerika siguro, English speaking. Meron siyang accent eh. Ang mga Pilipino, meron talagang ano yan. Once galing sa Amerika, may accent. Maniniwala na kaagad. Ay, Bari, salamat po ulit. Papuntahin mo yan dito sa Chicago para ma-ensayo kung mabuti ang doktor. Wag naman! Nakaka-high-blood dyan na yupak na ungas na yan na natataas yung BP ko dito sa California. Pag nag-out of state ka, need mo mag-quarantine for 2 weeks bago ka makabalik sa work. Sabi ng asawa ko, pampakalma mo. Oy, thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Luis. Mamaya, baba natin, sasayawan natin yan. Pero tuloy muna natin to kasi hindi pa dito nagtatapos. Iinit ang ulo ninyo. At ang daming naniniwalang tatanga-tanga. Sa totoo lang, ang daming naniniwalang tatanga-tanga dito.
Fucking money. Nasabi nga nung Grab na naghatid sa
Sabi daw nung Grab, na naghatid sa kanya. Pakinggan ninyo.
akin, sabi niya, alam ba, Doc, araw-araw na ginawa ng Diyos, just sa park and fly, dito sa area na to, ng NAIA, ang daming dumarating na armored car, araw-araw, kasi ang laki ng perang ginagawa ng mga to. It should not be mandatory. Kasi, parang, ito bigyan ko kayo example.
Ang kanyang opinion na buo, na pera-pera, ay dahil sa isang Grab. Dahil sa isang Grab driver na sinabi sa kanya, alam mo ba, Doc, may mga truck na lumalabas dyan na pera-pera. Sabi ko, asan ang critical thinking nitong taon to? Kinwento lang ng isang Grab driver, ha? Okay? Na may truck na lumalabas dyan, na may pera-pera, kaya pinagkakakitaan lang yung pagpapaswab. Okay? Grab driver ang nagkwento sa kanya. Sa madaling salita, hindi niya directly nakita yung mga truck na may lamang pera. First truth. Hindi niya nakita yon. Pangalawa, hindi niya na nga nakita paano niya ngayon malalaman yung truck laman ay pera. Okay, hindi naman porket may truck na parang pera, may pera na yan. Pangatlo, yung truck na yan, para doon ba yan sa swab o baka naman galing sa bangko lang yan? Paano mo masasabing pera galing kagad doon sa nagpapaswab? Dahil sabi ng Grab driver. Tell me, salamat. Dahil sa Grab driver. Kinuwento ng Grab driver. Hindi ko minamalit yung Grab driver, Ang point ko dito, third party ka na. Hindi bet ka. Ibig sabihin, ito yung truth. Nakita nito, ikinuwento lang sa'yo. At kinuwento ka lang sa kanya. Hindi mismo ikaw ang personal account na nakita mo yun. Eh, ito nga driver, na Grab driver ha, hindi niya nga nakita yung laman ng loob. Basta kinungklud na lang niya. May truck, may lamang pera ang galing sa swab. Dok, may Grab driver, merong galing sa pera, pinagkakakitaan nila. Paano ka hindi mabibuisit? Ha? Sige nga, pakisagot nga ako. Dok, huwag ka magagalit ha. Pero sir, ganyan ka ba mag-conclude sa buhay mo? Kinwento lang ng Grab driver? Baka mamaya ikwento ng Grab driver o kaya... Eh, hindi naman sa lahat ha, pero yung mga Grab driver minsan buraot na rin sila sa trabaho nila, naboboard na sila, so kung ano-ano lang kinikwento sa mga... Diba? Ito talaga seryoso. Thank you Lord. Salamat at nagdesisyon na siya na last video na to kasi masama talaga yung apekto ng video niya sa mga kababayan natin eh.
I'm gonna talk more about it, and then this is probably the last time I'm gonna be talking about this kasi nakakasawa na rin. Maraming trolls, maraming mga medical doctors, kuno, na siguro naapektuhan yung mga nagtatrabaho sa government, yung mga may issues sa PhilHealth. Nakalimutan niyo ba yung 15 billion na ninakaw sa PhilHealth? Maraming doktor
15 billion na ninakaw sa PhilHealth because daw, dito siya nagdiin dito eh. Dahil daw doon sa mga dinideclare ng doktor na kahit hindi COVID, sasabihin nila sa mga pasyente, COVID na lang para bayaran ng PhilHealth. Okay. Where is the proof? Second. First, where's the proof? Second, na hindi niya alam. Nilagay na sa balita yan, ni-report na kung saan napunta yung 15 billion. Hindi mo ni-research? Hindi ko na problema yon. Ang problema mo, nag-conclude ka ng hindi nagre-research. Baka kasi hindi niya alam eh. O ito, na-liquidate na yung 15 billion, 94% na-liquidate. Ito yung bagong news to no February 2 to 2021. Okay? Ito na yung bagong bagong PhilHealth na yung dating NBI director na naging PhilHealth. Ito na yon. Oh. So sinasabi na yan, ni Geran ha? Si Geran, during a House hearing, Geran said 14.09 billion that was released to healthcare institution, ganyan, has been liquidated. So sa madaling salita, hindi ho nawala. Okay? Ngayon, sasabihin ko ba, lahat ba yan? Talagang sure? Hindi ko rin alam. Pero at least they provided something. Ano paniniwalaan ko yung something na, ninakaw yan. Ninakaw lahat yan. Basta ninakaw yan. Ninakaw. Anong proof? Basta ninakaw yan. Ninakaw yan. Ginamit yan sa COVID. Ano yan eh? Scam yan. Anong proof? Basta! Basta sigurado ko ninakaw yan ng gobyerno. Basta lang. Ano ang proof? Basta sigurado ko magnanakaw ang gobyerno. Ganon. Gets niyo ibig ko sabihin? It's easy to accuse people. But providing evidence, nga. Naku, doktor to talaga, oo. Tuloy, Dok! Sa kalokohan mo.
Okay. Sabi ko kanina, bakit pag bumabagyo sa Pilipinas, sa mga probinsya...
Ito, bago na naman yung... Grabe, hindi ko talaga, hindi ko maunawaan kung bakit pinaniniwalaan ng tao to. Yung analogy na naman niya, binabagyo. Binabagyo. Dito talaga tatawa kayo. Gusto mong impog yung, oh my golly, asan ang brain nito? Pasensya na ha. Bumabagyo daw. Okay, ito isa-isay natin sinasabi niya.
Nagkalat ang mga bangkay, nakahandusay, kasi hindi agad makuha ng local government, hindi agad...
Bumabagyo, nakakalat sa sa kalsada yung hindi makuha kagad ng mga LGU. Sa madaling salita, ang tinutukoy niya yung Yolanda. Kasi doon lang naman nangyari yun, yung bumabagyo, na yung mga bangkay nasa kalsada na hindi kinukuha ng LGU. That's his logic. Think of it. Isipin mo mabuti, yung mga taga-Tacloban, kung paano nangyari yon. Bakit? Bakit hindi nakuha yung mga nakahandusay sa kalsada? Tanungin ko kayo. Dahil ba, bakit? Isipin nyo mabuti
mapalibing, hindi agad masunog, hindi agad maasikaso.
Bakit? Hindi daw maasikaso, hindi masunog,
Pero nung nagkaroon ng COVID, asan yung mga bangkay na
Pero, nung nagkaroon ng COVID, asan daw yung mga bangkay? So sa madaling salita, sinasabi niya, yung mga bagyo noon, yung bangkay nasa kalsada, kitang-kita daw natin. Ibig sabihin, totoo yung nangyari. Pero dito sa isang banda naman, yung COVID, may mga namatay, hindi natin nakikita at nawawala na kaagad. Tingnan niyo yung logic ha. Ipapakita ko sa inyo paano maling-mali yung logic niya.
Handusay, wala. Yung mga taong grasa, yung mga tinatawag nila na buhaw.
Ganito, sample lang yan, Doc ha. Makinig ka na mabuti. Kahit ito mga banateros, alam na kagad ang sagot. Una, yung Yolanda noon, there was no LGU functioning. Bakit? Binagyo lahat. Do you understand? Kahit yung mga maglilibing, binagyo lahat. Sa madaling salita, walang gobyerno at that time doon sa lugar na yon. Kaya nga hindi mapulot. Naintindihan mo? Kaya nga yan ang kinagalit ni Pangulong Duterte noon, di ba? Mayor pa lang siya noon. Nakikita daw niya, naiyak siya noon. Kasi hindi naasikaso ng national government. Bakit? The LGU was not functioning at that time. Nabagyo silang lahat. Kasama yung mga puninarya, lahat siya nabagyo. Kaya hindi nakuha. So yun ang kaya sinasabi niya may proof of na may namatay talaga. Takbo tayo ngayon dito sa COVID. COVID! Bakit wala sa kalsada? Bakit wala tayo nakikita? Alam niyo kung bakit? Kinikrimate kasi. At may LGU. At may national government. At higit sa lahat may puninarya. At meron ding cremation. Lahat na sinasabi mong wala doon sa panahon na yun, meron ngayon. Kaya wala kayong makikita sa kalsada. At ang protocol kinikremate kagad kasi makakahawa. Dok, anong alad dyan? Ang bihira namang logic yan. Hindi ko maintindihan paano nangyari ito naging doktor. Sabihin yung ako ang mali. Sige, mali ako doon. Yung comparison mo, doon walang gobyernong gumagana. Dito, punong-puno ng gobyernong gumagana. Oh my God. Ay, grabe. Ibang level ka, doktor.
Okay, so let's proceed now to the types of inference. So let's start with the immediate inference, or sometimes known as direct inference. So it is an inference proceed from one proposition directly to another proposition. So one example here is the oppositional inference, just given. This is just a given statement. Some students do not take their studies seriously is true. No? So some students do not take their studies seriously is true. Then we can infer that all students take their studies seriously is false. Why is it? The given is true, then the A proposition is considered as false because of the principle of contradiction. But anyway, on the next topic, on the next subtopic, I will give you the oppositional inference. The other one is through induction. So, just an example, no beggar is a millionaire. Conversely, you can also say that no millionaire is a beggar. Okay, let's proceed now. So another type of inference is mediate inference, or sometimes known as indirect inference. So here, in a mediate inference, we proceed from two or more propositions to another which is implied in the given propositions. So just an example here, categorical syllogism. No cat is a dog. So my pet Peachy is a cat. Therefore, my pet Peachy is not a dog. Okay? So consider here that the major premise, the first premise is called as the major premise. no cat is a dog. So the subject is cat, the other one is the dog. Cat is the subject term, the dog is the predicate term. Now here, in the second statement, this is what we call it as the minor premise. The minor premise is that the subject term is here at the predicate term, the cat, while there's another new term which is peachy. Peachy is what we call it as the middle term, no? So the middle term. So from here, we imply that in the middle term is now the subject, in the conclusion becomes the subject, and it's already verified that since that his pet Peachy is a cat, then he inferred that his pet Peachy is not a dog. Okay, so that's a categorical syllogism. Another example here is hypothetical syllogism. So, for example, he will either pay or be sued for damages, but he stubbornly refuses to pay. Therefore, he will be sued for damages. So that is hypothetical syllogism. So please don't forget about the difference between immediate inference as well as mediate inference. Okay, so let's go over now with the oppositional inference. So, oppositional inference consists in proceeding from the known or assumed truth or falsity of one proposition to the truth falsity of any of its opposites. So there are four modes of opposition. So number one is contradiction or contradictories. Number two is contrariety, or shall we say contraries. Number three is sub-alternation or subalterns. And lastly, number four is subcontrariety or subcontraries. So there are four types of opposition. So these are the four types. Once again, it's contradictories, contraries, subalterns, and subcontraries. Okay, let's proceed now. Okay, contradictories. So the law of contradiction in the basic laws of thought that a thing cannot be and not be at the same time. So here, it is the opposition between propositions that differ both in quality and quantity. So the propositions are opposed in this way. For example, all S copula P to not all S copula P. So A and O proposition, or vice versa, O and A proposition, they are contradictories. Another one here is no S copula P to some S copula P. So E proposition to I proposition. So, or I proposition to E proposition and vice versa. So they are also contradictories. Propositions A and O, E and I, or I and E are contradictories. All cows eat grass. Um, by contradictory, not all cows eat grass. Some cats are tigers. So that is an E, no, sorry, that is an I proposition. Some cats are tigers, an I proposition. So therefore, the contradiction for that one is no cat is a tiger. Okay. The next one is contraries. Contraries is the opposition between only universal propositions that differ in quality. So it only refers to A and E propositions, or E and A propositions, or vice versa. no? All S copula P to no S copula P. Propositions A and E, or E and A, are contraries. All cows eat grass. So on the contrary, no cow eats grass. Okay, so next one is subcontraries. Why call it subcontraries? Because both the oppositional inference are both particular propositions in different qualities, or that differ in quality. So it only refers to I and O, or O and I propositions. So they are subcontraries. Some as copula P to not all as copula P, or not all as copula P to some as copula P. So some cats are tigers. On the subcontrary, not all cats are tigers. So that is subcontraries. The next one is the subalternation, or otherwise known as subalterns. Is the relation between universal and particular propositions having the same quality of the copula. So it refers to A and I proposition, or I and A proposition. So that is a subalternation, both in affirmative quality. But on the negative quality, E and O, no S copula P to not all S copula P, or O and E proposition. So propositions A and I, vice versa, I and E and O, or O and E, are subalternations or subalterns. Just an example, all men are rational. So by subalterns, some men are rational. Or on the other hand, no man is rational to not all men are rational. So these are subalterns. So on the next one, on the next slide, you will see the squares of the opposition. So here, the next slide, I will show you the squares of the opposition. So please don't forget about this. Square of the opposition. So what is here and above are all universal propositions, A and E. All S copula P and no S copula P. Here below are the particular propositions, I and O proposition. Some S copula P and not all S copula P. The next one is the square of the opposition. Okay, so don't forget about this one. A and E, they are contraries. Or E and A are contraries. Now, on the subcontraries, these are proposition I and O. Or O and I proposition, they are also subcontraries. Now, for the subalterns, you may say here, A and I proposition on the left corner. A and I proposition, subalterns. Or on the right side, it's the negative quality. So here, what is written above are the universal propositions. What is below are the particular propositions. Now, on the left corner, these are all affirmative propositions, no? But on the right corner, these are all the negative propositions. So E and O, or O and E, are subalterns. Now for the contradictories, that is A and O, these are contradictories, or O and A are contradictories. On the other hand, E and I is also contradictories in the same way as also I and E proposition, that is still contradictories. So please don't forget about this. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, and that would be our topic. Last topic for no, for the next topic for the oppositional inference will be the truth value of the um, oppositional inference. So once again, I am Sean Xavier Alcalita. So thank you very much.